Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our bi-monthly Google Meets, where I have invited not just our members from Reopen San Diego, but all my clients, friends, colleagues, practitioners, holistic doctors, and so many that are interested in staying in optimal health. For those of you that do not know me and were invited by someone, friends, my name is Anna Leah Mintz, and I use my middle name Leah since my sister-in-law, who also lives here in San Diego, happens to have the same first and last name. We're trying to avoid any confusion, which, believe me, we've had plenty of. A brief background of myself. I produce and host the only live health show here in San Diego called Healthy Haven, where many of my guest speakers offer 21st century information to help you reach your optimal health. I encourage you all to check out our past shows that are all posted on YouTube and my website under shows, as well as many podcasts and beneficial products to help you stay healthy. When I'm not doing live shows, I continue to share valuable information on my Wednesday night clubhouse at 7:30 PST time, where the audience is invited to get a free energy check done remotely. And what I do is I give them a percentage baseline of their redox molecule cells, antibodies, and their immune. I invite you all to join me and Anna Vexler, who is a moderator in that room with me and has a wealth of information on redox molecule. As a matter of fact, she was one of our guest speakers last month for this meetup group. And I'll have her say a quick hello in just a bit, as I just want to share my main modality of practice that is shown to help with many of your health conditions, and that is the emotion code. I'm certified, along with over 8,000 practitioners all over the world, through Dr. Bradley Nelson. And we were taught that 85% of most of our health issues, first and foremost, are emotionally related. So after COVID started, I was finding myself doing more remote sessions to people globally, all over the world, clearing them with all kinds of health issues. And this can include physical pain, mental issues such as depression, anxiety, and grief. And you can imagine how the numbers skyrocketed with all these issues during the pandemic. And then I also touch upon PTSD, psychic and childhood trauma, and so much more. I also help people remove blockages in their relationships and finances. So may I add that today we will be discussing weight loss. And I want to point out that negative stored emotions play a big part in affecting weight loss, since many of you probably binge if you're depressed, or dig into the fridge, or reaching out for those comfort foods because you're lonelier or feeling anxious. I can even energetically test your insulin resistance or gluten and dairy intolerance. Or I can even check to see if you're not absorbing or breaking down any foods properly, possibly due to it's not producing enough hydrochloric acid. As we age, we produce less and less hydrochloric acid, and that's what helps us break down our foods. And digestive enzymes. So many of you do not even take digestive enzymes before a cooked meal. That too will be in effect. So during your free 15-minute session, I'm offering that to everyone here today. I could look into all those things. Those are some of the things that I can check for you. Like I said, everyone here today will receive a free 15-minute session / donation. You can pay whatever you want if you feel it's worth it. And we'll get to the root cause of that. Now, going back to the importance of redox molecule cells, which our body is made of, yet produce less and less as we age, I want to introduce you to our expert speaker on this to say a quick hello and briefly elaborate on what I just said. And then if you have any questions for her or our wonderful keynote speaker tonight, we will have a chance at the end. So Anna, thank you for joining us again tonight. And please share a few things about redox cells.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be on your show. Just wanted to mention it to you that redox signaling molecules, also called cell signaling, are cellular messengers vital in protecting, rejuvenating, and restoring our cells. Redox signaling molecules are created within every 75 trillion cells in our body. And after every 10 years, we produce them after the age 16, we produce them 10% less and less and less. And they're essential to life and become in very short supply as we age. These molecules are antioxidant activators and immune system communicators. An increase of more than 800% in glutathione efficiency has been measured. It's just important that healthy cells is healthy life. I hope it makes sense.
Wow, absolutely. Thanks, Anna. So as you can see, we've done some valuable topics since we started these Google Meets a few months ago. And since they are being recorded, you can find the replay on my website under podcasts. Other past speakers was Dr. Clarence discussing the benefits of frequency silver, which was a most beneficial in helping me personally overcome COVID very quickly. And Dr. Inga Wetzel, who spoke about the benefits of zeolite to detox the body and prevent us from the daily toxins we encounter. Again, all seen on my website under products. Gianna Granton cannot be with us here today. Apparently, Dr. Wetzel also is traveling and speaking around the world. I would like to emphasize Gianna Granton, who does biofeedback remotely. So if any of you would like to get a hold of her, please contact me and I'll connect you with her. She's amazing and helps reduce stress through quantum physics, which is everyone's got stress, right? You live and breathe, that's what will happen. So having said that, we are ready to bring on our special guest speaker, Dr. Chari, who was ever so kind to share with us how to lose weight by healing our gut and balancing your hormones. For those of you, yes, for those of you fortunate to live here in San Diego, you'll be happy to know that she is the medical director of a family-owned integrative medical clinic called the Chari Center for Health right here in San Diego. She received her medical degree from the Medical College of Ohio and completed her internship and residency at North Shore University Health System affiliated with the University of Chicago. She has a leading edge approach for treating the underlying causes of both physical and psychological conditions with proven natural remedies, mind-body techniques, and advanced wellness technologies to get results for her patients. In addition to practicing integrative medicine, Dr. Chari is also certified in hypnosis.
Wow.
Yeah, thought field therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and interactive guided imagery. She has been featured on local and national television shows, including the Learning Channel, and local and national radio programs and podcasts around the country. Wow, that's what I could say. What a special lady.
Wow.
And such an honor to have you share such a needed topic with us today, as we will have a chance for Q&A at the end. And in the meantime, we ask you all please to just mute your mics so we can have a clear sound coming in. Dr. Chari, thank you for being here. And can you please share with our listeners how we can lose weight by healing our gut and balancing our hormones? I understand you wish to do a slide presentation. So by all means, the stage is yours.
You're muted.
Yeah, you just need to unmute your mic and we'll get started because we need to hear your beautiful voice. All right. Just unmute your mic.
There we go.
Thank
Thank
you. All righty.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna, for inviting me to present tonight for your beautiful group. And you're such a visionary, so innovative, and you're always bringing out the most latest advancements in healing methodologies. Just it's a pleasure to know you, and I know how dedicated you are to educating the public on latest advancements for their healing processes. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. And this is a topic I'm very passionate about because I had struggles losing weight, especially, after I turned, my mid 40s. Everything that I tried to do didn't work, whether it was exercising more, changing diet, fasting. I mean, I tried everything. So it was my own healing journey itself that led me to really explore and see what I needed to do to lose weight, because I wasn't happy with the way I was feeling. So I am going to share my screen. And here we go. Okay. So basically, this is my presentation on losing weight by healing your gut and balancing your hormones. And we talk a lot about balancing hormones and healing the gut, but it is all interconnected with weight loss. And I don't know if any of these sound familiar to any of you, but do you feel so frustrated to struggle and you struggle to lose weight, especially,
Mhm.
and for me, it was that belly fat. And ever wonder if you're ever going to lose weight? You don't feel like stepping on the scale. I used to, pinch my belly and say, is this ever going to go? And despite everything I was trying. And then I used to also wear oversized clothes to hide myself. And that was a frustration. And then at some point, you just kind of give up. So, and then you've tried different diet programs. You may have lost weight, but then just regained it back and then some. Well, the reason that's happening is because there's underlying true reasons. And I like combining because what I found is that it's never just one thing. But reason number one is conventional diets, they don't work. And I know many of you have tried so many of the diets out there. In fact, I always say there's about as many diets on the market as there are people on the planet.
Hmm.
And so who's to blame? Well, for sure the processed food industry and even diet shakes because a lot of them have a lot of toxic ingredients which actually cause a lot of inflammation. And one example of that is, for substituting protein powders, everyone was recommending then, okay, try pea protein powder. But actually, a lot of people aren't even able to take pea protein powder because that causes a tremendous amount of inflammation. And then there's protein bars. And I'm not saying all of them are bad, but for many people, they're not able to take the protein bars because with the tremendous amount of nuts and seeds in the bars, plus the other fillers that they use in there, that can cause inflammation in the body, which then actually stops the weight loss and then creates actually more issues. Then, of course, there's diet pills, and a lot of them have just a lot of stimulants, which then can affect our heart health and overall sense of well being. And then there's the low carb and low fat diet. And I know that, of course, that was a big fad at one time, and it is still a very popular way of eating even now. But one thing I'm going to emphasize is that not every diet is for everyone. So, for
Mhm.
some people, they thrive on higher carb diets, others thrive on lower carb diets. It's very much customized for each person. And that's why in Ayurveda, they talk about, they have vata, pitta, kapha, different constitutions based on your body type, based on your height, your weight, your build, um, and also your emotional temperament. So all of that plays a role into what type of diet may work for one person versus another. And also just wanted to comment that low carb diets, even though they do work and they're wonderful, but sometimes when it's too low carb a diet, that can actually affect your energy levels and even your thyroid function. So just to bring that up. And then again, with conventional dieting and restricting calories, oftentimes it can end up just slowing your metabolism because your body thinks there's a famine. And then you can actually burn and lose muscle versus fat. And that's another big concern. And definitely it can throw the hormones out of balance pretty significantly, pretty significantly. And then you can if you stay on these type of diets for a longer period of time, it can lead to other health conditions. So a customized food program is the most important thing. And when you take a customized food program, then that's when you'll burn fat instead of muscle, and then balance your hormones to actually boost your metabolism, decrease inflammation in your body, and decrease and eliminate pain. So then you actually feel like exercising because if you're so lethargic and if you're actually losing muscle, you're not going to be very motivated to want to exercise in the first place as well. And then you can even prevent or even reverse significant health conditions. So, for example, one of my patients said, it's incredible to experience for myself what a truly clean and nutritious diet and supplementation can do for the body. And they had lost 21 pounds and they were able to fit into a dress that was in their closet for a long period of time. And that's something else that I had. I used to have my favorite clothes that I couldn't fit into in the closet, and I would look at them every day and say, when? When can I fit into them? But it is absolutely possible. Of course it is. It's just a matter of fine tuning. And there is no magic pill and there is no magic diet. And that's what I really want to emphasize. But it's customizing for each person because each and every one of us is so unique. Our fingerprints are so unique. Our tongue prints even are so unique. So, of course, that absolutely pertains to what we eat as well, and even supplements. So, healing your gut. This is so important. And again, from personal experience with myself and my family, we went through a lot of gut issues in the past, and it was something that changed our life. And as Hippocrates said over 2,000 years ago, all disease begins in the gut. And Ayurveda, the ancient medical science from India, talked about that the first step for healing your body is to heal your gut, and that was over 5,000 years ago. So again, science is now catching up, and definitely in functional medicine, we're talking about healing the gut. But I need to be honest with you that we're still in our infancy of really understanding the universe in our gut, that is all the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, the viruses, parasites, candida, fungus, etc. So it's so complex. And we want to increase the good bacteria, but at the same time you don't want to increase them too much. And you want to decrease the load of the bad organisms and bugs. But again, there's a balance. And like life, that can always be tricky. But the health of your gut determines your overall health and well being. In fact, so many scientists are referring to our gut as literally our second brain. And Dr. David Perlmutter had said, heal the gut. And that's coming from a brain specialist. The brain is miles away from the gut. If we heal the gut, all inflammation will fall into place because we need our gut to work properly to digest food, and then we have to absorb food. So this is sounding very basic, but it's so important. Digestion begins actually in our mouth as well and then gets into our stomach. We need the right amount of hydrochloric acid and enzymes to break our food down, as well as bile made by our liver to help break the food down and emulsify those fats. And then so that you can absorb it in your small intestine and then ultimately excrete waste out of your colon. And you want to have a strong barrier in your gut between all of these critters, whether bacteria, viruses, toxins, candida, parasites, and your bloodstream. You want that wall, and you want that wall to be solid, because what's happening now between genetically modified foods and between all of the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that we're being exposed to, what's happening is that's creating tremendous inflammation in our gut. And in addition to all of those items, the GMOs and all the sprays that are being used, when they're harvesting wheat, nowadays they're also putting a drying agent so that it goes in the shaft of the machine much better. But that drying agent is, again, very toxic on our gut. So that's why we're seeing such an epidemic of gut issues, autoimmune diseases, and other underlying diseases, is because our gut is getting so inflamed. And that's also leading to an imbalance of hormone levels, tremendous inflammation, and then that affects our ability to lose weight. So, having a healthy immune system is so important because at least 70% of our immune system resides in our gut, because our gut is our first line of defense. And one patient who had ended up healing their gut said, I've lost 19 pounds so far. But more important that are the unexpected health gains. I have more energy, better quality of sleep, their joint pains were gone, and their skin was so clear. So that is the importance of healing the gut. And then the secret sauce to losing weight has to do with balancing your hormones. And weight gain is definitely hormonal. And a lot of people think, okay, but I'm eating the right foods, I'm trying to exercise, and drinking a lot of water. Why can't I lose weight? And then, we look at hormones. And for me, that's just part and parcel of any program to lose weight, is balancing the hormones. That's the secret sauce. And what hormones need to be balanced? So we're going to start with cortisol. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone, and very important stress hormone, because we need it to give us energy, to give us sugar, so we can take care of our stressors in our day-to-day life. But if the cortisol levels are too high, then that can lead to more belly fat and can create other issues. So again, like anything in life, it's a balance because cortisol is also needed to decrease inflammation. And then there's insulin, and insulin is made by one of your glands called the pancreas. Your pancreas makes digestive enzymes to help you break down food, but it also uh, releases insulin. And insulin then drives blood sugar into your cells so then you can have energy. And it's also, though, a fat storage hormone. So we need to be careful, like anything in life, we need a balance of our insulin levels. And then leptin helps you suppress your appetite. So that's important. And for many people, the balance between leptin and ghrelin, and I remember Dr. Oz used to call ghrelin gremlin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone, so it increases your appetite, and leptin suppresses it. But what I'm finding is that for many people who are struggling with losing weight, the exact opposite is happening. They're having less of the leptin and more of the ghrelin. And then there's adiponectin, which helps you to burn fat. And for many people, that hormone level is low. And then there's estrogen and all the forms of estrogen. And absolutely, and last but definitely not least, is our thyroid. And our thyroid is so important for regulating our metabolism and helping us to burn fat and generate energy. And what happens is our adrenal glands and our thyroid, they're like twins. I like to consider them as twins. So when our adrenals are ramping up to help us get more energy, our thyroid is just meeting the demand by ramping up as well. But at some point, when the body says, you know what, if we're just on the accelerator all the time, we're going to burn out. So it's not that the adrenal glands get fatigued because they don't get fatigued. What happens is your body's intelligence, divine intelligence, purposefully tries to slow you down so you don't burn yourself out. And then at that point, the thyroid also slows down to meet that demand and so that you don't burn yourself out. But because of also toxins and with the inflammation that we're having in our gut, that's affecting the health of our thyroid. And that's why we're seeing explosion of autoimmune conditions, including Hashimoto's, and that's related to genetically modified foods and the sprays they're using in the environment and all the toxins we're exposed to, including heavy metals. So, if we balance all of these hormones, then we can lose weight, have more energy, burn belly fat, boost our metabolism, get healthier, and look and feel years younger, which is ultimately we want to look and feel our best. That's the goal. And here's another patient who after balancing her hormones, she lost 16 pounds and she was at her ideal weight and where she felt the best because it's not just a matter of looking at the numbers on the scale, but it's where do you feel the best? Where do you have energy, where you're not weak, and at the same time you feel fit and vital. That's all very important. And she said it was a pleasant process and she kept feeling better. She had more energy and she no longer craved sugar and she felt right in her body again. Because as you balance your hormones, as you decrease inflammation, as you heal your gut, your cravings actually change and the taste buds actually change on your tongue. So what would have been so appealing to you in the past is not as appealing anymore. And other benefits as all this is taking place is she also noticed her blood pressure became normal, headaches were gone. Of course, her weight was normalized, and she didn't have the hot flashes because everything is interconnected. And so the old way was a low fat diet, low or no carbs, diet sodas, fat free foods, willpower, sugar free fasting, counting calories and points, exhausting exercise, which is actually not the proper way of doing things because if the adrenals and your body are saying we need to slow down, and a person is doing exhausting exercise, the body will then say we need to conserve even more energy, and then people end up gaining weight. Again, it's not because the adrenals actually get fatigued. And then people don't eat very much, thinking, okay, maybe I can burn fat this way. But again, the metabolism will slow down. Extreme detoxes are also not healthy because our body will detox. It's not that it can't detox, but it's something like this. I give an analogy that let's say you're having a big party at night and you've been working all day and you have to clean the house. Sometimes what you may feel like doing or do is taking all the things on the floor or in the hallway and just throwing it in a room and closing the door and saying, I'll deal with this after the party is done. Well, our body is going to say, okay, we have this amount of energy. So what we're going to do, we're going to prioritize. So we're going to kind of put these toxins and nicks in corners. And then once we are in the position to be able to deal with it, then we'll detox. So you don't want to overly stress your body. You want to kind of build your body up nutritionally, and then at the same time or at a certain period of time later, then gently detox. But my emphasis is always on a gentle detox. And that's why, again, crash dieting doesn't work, because people lose the weight, but then they tend to gain it back and then some. So the new way is very straightforward, having a customized meal plan that's tailored for you, healing your gut, and then balancing your hormones. And then you can lose weight the healthy way. So, eating a customized diet designed just for you, again, because each and every one of us is so unique. Healing your gut. So, how can we heal our gut? There's many different ways to do this, but everything starts with digestion. And I know this is going to sound so basic, but I can vouch for myself that, always in a rush, and I'll be just quickly eating and basically inhaling my food versus chewing it. So, digestion starts in your mouth, and by chewing your food until it's a liquid, that will also then cause your digestive enzymes, your stomach, to release digestive enzymes, as well the food makes it down to your stomach, you'll digest it better. It's fascinating. But I spoke to a gastroenterologist, and who's a specialist in the gut, and what she had said is that we're looking so much into different supplements, but we forgot about the foundation of eating, frankly. And I'll go more into that in just a little bit. And then balancing your hormones and clearing hidden beliefs that are stopping you from losing weight. This is so important, because despite the best of supplements and diets and exercise and hydration and detoxification, if we don't address the root, which is emotional, and in the vast majority of cases, it is emotional, because it's underlying emotions or stressors or traumas, which are then causing us to eat in the manner that we do. And so when those emotional triggers get cleared, then life can be completely transformed, and the way we perceive food and how we eat changes. And
Mhm.
then getting expert help from professionals who know what you need, not what the masses need, but what you need. That is so important. So, and I just wanted to share, let's see here, share with you again what the gastroenterologist was specialist in dealing with digestive issues was sharing. Is she said that also if we need to go into a parasympathetic response before eating, and by that, again, it's so simple: playing beautiful music and taking a deep breath before you eat automatically puts you in a relaxed state, because they say rest and digest, versus sympathetic, which is fight or flight. So when you are in a more peaceful state, and I was, again, I'm the first to admit this, that I was inhaling my food or checking, my messages, or reading very stressful things taking place in the world, and that was not helping my digestion. So I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So, have at family dinner, or if you're eating alone, just play beautiful music and make it a time almost like of meditation. So when you play beautiful music, take a few deep breaths, chew your food very thoroughly. Not only will it increase the amount of enzymes and hydrochloric acid you produce, but it will also increase the number of good bacteria in your gut
Mhm.
without even taking probiotics. And that's what the gastroenterologist was emphasizing. She said these should be the fundamentals. And yes, in this day and age, most of us do need some supportive enzymes, and we do need some supportive, so it could be even apple cider vinegar and a little bit of water, that you drink that before your meals to help with the hydrochloric acid, or taking a pinch of Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt and putting it in a little bit of water, because that chloride can then help you produce more hydrochloric acid. These simple steps. And make sure it's a relaxing time for you. I tell people if you're in too much of a rush, it's better just to drink some water and then wait until you actually can eat. And so, for your digestive health, in addition to what many of you have already known about gluten, because nowadays our grains have about 90% more gluten than they did before. And the reason that was the case is because of the way they were making the grains shorter and stockier to have more yield. But that is basically their grains have turned into rubber. Even though it looks like a grain, it's actually, they said, if you look at it, it's like chemical rubber. And so that's creating havoc, and that's why we're seeing gluten-free items everywhere. It's not because suddenly everybody's something's wrong with everybody. It's because we have to look at what's happened in the environment. So these are some simple steps to help with the digestion. Probiotics are good, but each of us and every one of us has our own universe. And so my recommendation is on our own gut universe, I should emphasize. So it's not just a matter of taking probiotics, which could put potentially billions of one or two or three different species in your gut. It's more important to increase, based on your unique constitution, your unique bugs in your gut. And you can do that by just eating prebiotic foods, which is again going back to fiber that feeds your good bacteria so your unique bacteria grow and thrive, and then they crowd out the bad guys. And so it's not that probiotics aren't good, but not necessarily every day and not the same strains. I tell people vary the strains, and there's different spore biotics, I should call them, which are based, from the soil. Spores are in the soil. And we used to that when we used to, work in the soil, and we naturally would eat all of these very important spores, which actually help us to break down food, to break down toxic forms of hormones. It helps us make all these vitamins. It assists us with our digestion and immune system. So, we live in this beautiful universe and coexist with them. Our gut has more bug DNA than human DNA, so it's really important to coexist. And then, as far as balancing your hormones, there's so many different things you can do. Again, it goes back to the emotions. I always emphasize that because our, emotions are always like energy in motion. And then that affects our hormone levels. In fact, when Yogi in India said the number one thing to do to help balance your thyroid is to work on the emotions and stress levels. And then absolutely we need to, clean up our diet and avoid toxic foods because our grains unfortunately have been poisoned, whether it's wheat or corn or soy, and then dairy. And depending, everybody can have different sensitivities, but see what your sensitivities are and then adjust to that. And then there's wonderful herbs and different supplements. You need the right amount of minerals as well as different herbs that are available, whether Chinese herbs, and a lot of them are now, wild crafted and grown in the US. So you can balance your, like ashwagandha is wonderful. It can balance your progesterone levels, balance your hormone levels, balance your immune system, and even decreases stress and anxiety. So these are some of the foundations. And another last point I wanted to mention with regards to diet is, in checking our stool tests, they found that people on ketogenic diets or paleo diets have a very different concentration of bugs, good and bad bugs, versus someone who's on a more higher carb diet. And then then they were saying, oh, maybe that's not going to be healthy because maybe those diets will decrease some of the other ones that are important that you see with people who eat more carbs. But one doctor said, which I agree with, he said it's not about the diet, it's about having a healthy host and then seeing which diet you feel best with. And then your bugs will adjust accordingly based on your diet. And there's no right or wrong answer because I'm telling you very honestly, we're still in our infancy of really understanding um, the billions and trillions of organisms that live in our gut and the benefits of what they do and which ones are needed and which ones and what are the balance or correct balance for everything. So thank you, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chari. I hope you all took some good notes. There was so much there. Thank God for the recording. because I'm going to have to go. I'm personally going to go over it a few more times. I personally had a few questions while you guys are deciding what you want to ask, because I have mine prepared more than ready for this class. What is your take on intermittent fasting, which I know I do? That's one of the questions. I'm just going to give you all of mine, and you can answer whatever order, because some might overbalance the others. So overlap, I mean. So one of them is the intermittent fasting. I want to know your take on that. Also, your the possible restrictions that lipoic acid has, and it's found in grains and seeds, right? So and now they're feeding it to our animals, and that's giving us weight gain. And there's like almost no way to avoid it. Like, we think grains are great. You know, they're even saying now, if you feed your pets, avoid the grain. Look for things that are not in grain form for the animals. So I'm doing that for my own two dogs, but humans are dealing with that as well. So that's my other thing. I just wanted to throw in, this is more of a fact that I know. I found that people that crave magnesium, or no, not magnesium, sorry, that they crave chocolate, it's because they're lacking magnesium. So that's one emotional thing right there also that, you know, goes hand in hand with that. And the other thing I was going to say with you mentioned apple cider vinegar to drink. I used to take that. I went to a banquet once, and I brought it. In fact, I went to a family dinner. Someone invited us, and he saw me sipping this apple cider vinegar and making the most grotesque look on my face ever. And he said, "What did you take?" I said, "I just have to take it. It's going to help me digest the food." He took it personally, like it was his own food or something. I said, "Oh no, it has nothing to do with you. I take this everywhere I go when I'm about to eat a cooked meal." Anyway, the expression I made was really horrific because it's very, very sour tasting. So I found a solution to that. Premier Research Lab has apple cider vinegar capsules. You don't even have to taste it. Swallow it in a capsule form, gel caps. So that's a solution to that. So if any of you go, there is a solution. You don't have to take it and drink it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share on my take. I love everything you said. So if you just, while they're coming up with their other questions, if maybe you want to touch upon the intermittent fasting and the lipoic acid. Oh, and the last one was, when you said a custom diet, who is to customize it for you? Where do you go to get it customized? Because you said everyone should be a customized diet. So those are my three questions. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, first, with regards to the intermittent fasting, it's wonderful. And it's something that I personally do myself. It was more, frankly, unintentional, just because of the time I was eating dinner. And then by the time I actually eat breakfast, it was about 12 to 14 hours. So, but it definitely is beneficial. But again, not for everybody, because some people, they do need to eat first thing in the morning without having a prolonged fast, because otherwise they feel more depleted, more exhausted. And that's why, again, though intermittent fasting is wonderful, it's not for everybody. But it is, I've seen great results in terms of kind of resetting the metabolism and decreasing insulin levels if their insulin level was too high. It decreases that, helps with balancing blood sugar, helps in balancing energy levels. It's great for the immune system. The benefits have been just tremendous with intermittent fasting. But again, for some people, some of my patients, they did it and they felt terrible. And so then I had to say, okay, let's get back on a schedule. And then they did, and they ended up feeling great and losing weight. So again, it was kind of tailored person to person. Now, with regards to seeds and grains, they are giving all of the animals all of these seeds and grains, and the animals are getting sick, and then the humans who are consuming the animals are getting sick. The animals are getting severe inflammation in their gut. Oh my goodness, they're getting so ill. And then they end up giving them animals then antibiotics and so on and so forth. And then again, when we eat the meat from those animals, we end up with the same issues. So, that's why when you eat meat, you have to look for organic meats, ideally getting it from local farmers where they treat the animals humanely and where the animals are allowed to live the lives that they're supposed to, because that all makes a difference in the quality of food if they're getting and they're not stressed. And, that all plays a role in the quality of the food. And so that also plays a big role. And in regards to humans eating a lot of nuts and seeds, for a more strict anti-inflammatory diet, they do restrict nuts and seeds. And even in the past, nuts are not as easy to digest. And yes, you can soak the different nuts and seeds for that matter. But even then, I'm noticing, even with nuts and seeds from great sources, more and more people are still having digestive issues with that. And for me personally, I've minimized the amount of nuts and seeds that I'm eating nowadays because I found that it was affecting me, my digestion. Whereas before I could, eat it and not really feel much of anything, but now I'm feeling the effects of it. And so that's the second thing. And as with regards to seeing professionals, whether they're nutritionists, dietitians, but it's ideal to see, someone, if you're looking at it from a medical point of view, and I don't mean just me, but I mean if you're seeking medical professional care, it's better to go for and search for a functional medicine doctor, because then we're
Mhm.
trained in looking at nutrition and looking at each person and getting to the root cause.
Yeah.
And because traditional medical doctors, I'm telling you frankly, in medical school we had 45 minutes on nutrition in 4 years. These are the
Mhm.
vitamins and that was it. And but my love and passion has always been in looking at nutrition and holistic healing because of my mother, who, our parents are from India, and my mother always taught us about healing naturally, using natural remedies and holistic lifestyles. So that is really important.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. You
Then,
covered it all. Like I
then
know right now, unfortunately, in school they have the SAD diet, standard American diet. But you go into the lunch line, they are still serving milk. They still have cheese, like all these things that are so allergens on kids. And I don't get it. And bread, they got the white flour bread sitting right there, thinking they're doing the kids a favor. So standard American to me is seriously sad.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Well, thank you. You covered everything. I really appreciate it. I want to have a chance for the panel.
yep,
Anybody, you're supposed
yes,
to
I
do this
would like
myself, but
to.
yes,
I would
okay,
like to
Anna,
make a couple of
Praise
comments,
God.
please,
Doctor.
please, Anna.
Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Thank you for the information. A
Thank you.
couple of um, a couple of comments I would like to make, and I would like to ask your opinion regarding. Anna had mentioned that instead of using the apple cider vinegar, she was using the pills. And I want your input on that, because I believe that we know that cayenne pepper, it's very good for us, good for digestion, it's good for healing, it's bring blood into the places in guts were not very healthy. So a lot of people are using the pills. And in my opinion, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. I think that something like this, it has to be taken by the mouth, for the reason when we consume something and it taken, for example, cayenne pepper, where it's hot, it's warns the gods that something get ready, something is coming. So your body is getting ready for heat. But if you take the pills, the body is not really ready for it. And then when it goes into the guts, it's like boom, boom. It's like a firework, and the body is not
Mhm.
ready for it. What's your intake about that? What's your opinion? Does it make sense, or my version it's not really make sense?
No, it completely makes sense. Because the minute anything touches the tongue, especially something bitter, that will then cause your digestive juices to flow in your stomach and cause your liver to both produce and release bile for digestion. So, it's interesting in pretty much all cultures around the world in different ways. But let's say in Europe, for example, they eat bitter salads before the meal to kind of stimulate the digestive juices. It's not layered with, sugar coated, dressings and things like that, but it's, bitter leaves, bitter lettuces are so important for digestion. And so it's true. So when you drink that, definitely it does have an effect, but still what happens is, let's say with apple cider vinegar, sometimes people were noticing as well that it was burning their throat or
Mhm.
it was affecting their enamel. So for me, I also so I was looking for other options as well from a apple cider vinegar point of view. So, but Premier Research Labs, they are a fantastic company, and so you can still get the benefits from that, definitely. But yes, what you were saying, definitely, the minute anything touches the tongue, the digestion actually starts. And my teacher, my one of my first teachers, naturopathic doctors, after I graduated from, completing my residency in internal medicine, was Dr. Richard Schultz, and is Dr. Richard Schultz, and he puts, cayenne in pretty much all of the different herbal formulas because he said that is what stimulates, all of the circulation, digestion, and everything. It has so many important properties. So, and I know, but again, some people couldn't tolerate that. So then, you have to look at other forms as well. So even though it's ideal to take it by mouth, definitely, still, you can reap wonderful benefits from capsules too. Oh, and depending on the quality of the company.
And I just wanted mention another comments which you mentioned it, is the gut and how it affects the hormones. I was lucky enough when I'm adding redox signaling molecules, it rejuvenates and restores the gut. And for the last couple of years, I was successful with not taking the hormone medication because my body started to produce the hormones which allow me not to take the medication anymore. The only problem I have, and I might ask you, in your opinion, because you integrated practitioner, regular doctors, when they look at the numbers, because the regular numbers, it can be from 2 to 3.5, where mine it's higher. But my endocrinologist is saying, as long as your symptoms, like you don't have a symptoms, like your blood pressure, it's normal, you feel good, the number doesn't make a difference. I really wanted to ask you just one, what's your thought about that?
Yes. Well, that's a very good point. And also in functional medicine, in traditional medicine, they say here to here is normal. In functional medicine, we say here to here is normal. But it's not just about the numbers, it is about how a person is feeling and what is unique for that particular person. And we have to look at also the big picture. Like for the thyroid, most doctors just look at TSH, but you need to look at free T3, free T4, reverse T3. You need to look at the thyroid antibodies, cortisol levels, and you can do saliva tests for that as well. It's the big picture of looking at a person versus just the numbers. And
Yeah.
also with regards to hormones, the hormone levels are always fluctuating, always, and they have to. And that's how we can stay vital and healthy. And the body's constantly in a biofeedback loop, testing and seeing what is needed, what's not needed as much at this point. And that's also based on what we're eating, our stress levels, and so on and so forth, quality of sleep. So it's, even though numbers are helpful, but the blood levels, there's, for hormones, there's blood levels, and then there's also looking at saliva, and then there's also, looking at the urine and
Mhm.
seeing, because sometimes blood levels may be low, but saliva levels may be too high. It's such a complex science. And so everything kind of needs to be taken into consideration.
I just wanted to make it for the record, please, whoever is listening, please go to this kind of doctors who are gonna take overall picture instead of just going by strict numbers. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I just wanted to leave it for other people to think about that. Thank you very much, doctor. It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Anna.
Can I say something, doctor?
Yes, please.
Okay. I've always had several years now, I have been taking something to help me with digestion because I always have, we all have that. But the one thing that I discovered is the Swedish bitters. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I have my bottle over here and I always take that. And the European people have taken that for years. And me being European, I've always taken it. So I take it before I eat, and sometimes I forget about it. And if I have a problem afterwards, and I take some, and it's just a little bit with some water, and the pain is gone.
Oh.
So this is what I am, and I didn't know whether you were familiar with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I recommend the Swedish bitters as well. And also try to get people to just get more used to eating bitter vegetables.
Yeah.
We like everything, we're so acclimated and gotten used to eating everything that's so sweet. But it's very important to kind of acquire a taste for eating bitter vegetables. And you can always saute it with onions and other things to make it
Mhm.
more flavorful. But definitely every culture, it's fascinating. Every culture around the world incorporates bitters before the meal at some degree.
Mhm.
And, some of those traditions are getting lost because of the latest
Yeah.
fad with all the processed foods and all. But absolutely, that's golden.
Yeah.
Swedish
Yeah.
bitters are
Thank you.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay,
I still can't lose weight. So, I'm still keep gaining weight, maybe because I'm getting shorter and I find myself being growing the other direction.
I can almost vouch for that happening to me. But anyway, that's why we're having this discussion. I've been getting some text questions coming in. One of them is, what is your take on? I'm going to just give you all three at the same time here. One of them is, what is your take on infrared saunas to help you lose weight? I personally have one in my home, so I know I go in twice a week. I literally sweat out toxins, and I mostly go in for that reason. But they wanted to know on weight loss. I think that would do it too for weight loss. We'll hear it from you. The other one is eating. What time do you recommend? When do you stop eating before you go to bed? And then what happens if you do eat late? I assume the food just kind of sits in bad fat cells and makes fat cells. But again, we'll hear it from you, the expert. So those are the three questions that came in.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. So, with regards to the infrared saunas, they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. And I think, frankly, in this day and age, with everything we're being exposed to, it's really supportive for our bodies to help our bodies detox whatever toxins that are being thrown at us. And with the recent whole with the past 2 years with COVID and so on, infrared saunas were a godsend for so many people. And so,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
no, they're definitely wonderful. And as far as the timings for meals, and here's where it gets very interesting again, is some people do very well with, again, intermittent fasting. So they may have their first meal a little bit later in the morning, or sometimes for some, maybe
Mhm.
even early afternoon. But
Mhm.
for others, they need to eat first thing in the morning. So it really depends. You have to see, where do I feel good? If I eat first thing in the morning, is my energy levels, are they up? Do I feel more vibrant and vital? Do I feel healthier? And then, or if I, eat a little bit later because I've been fasting for 12 hours, does that make me feel better? So this is what I've learned, is the rule is that there's no rules. And with regards to even how late to eat dinner, what's been fascinating is, again, some people do extraordinarily well eating later in the closer to when they're about to sleep. I still recommend at least 2 to 3 hours ideally after eating before you go to bed. But some people, eat by 9 and then they go to bed by 11ish, 11:30, and they do great with that. Others, they eat by 5 or 6 or maybe
Mhm.
7, and
Yeah.
then go to bed earlier. And but I what's fascinating to me is I haven't seen that one time worked better than the other, because it was so individual. It's so customized for each person. So again, it really depends on how you feel. But in general, the principle is that when the sun goes down, ideally, if you could have eaten dinner by then, that is wonderful. but it doesn't mean that your food won't digest if you eat later. Because again, in many countries around the world, they have their lunch and a siesta, and then they end up going home after work and having a later dinner, and and they're doing fine. So it really depends again on each person. But personally, I would say, if you can eat by 8 o'clock-ish or so, and then that allows at least a good 3-hour window, depending if a person's sleeping at 11 o'clock, or earlier if you sleep earlier.
Perfect. Does anyone else have any questions? I love that answer. I should be titled Night Owl. We have a lady, she titled herself Night. I know her real name, but it's so cute because I am exactly that one of those late things. I eat late, but I work late, and I work on people late at night. But I sleep in. I get to make up all those hours so that it works for me. But I must tell you, I do take hydrochloric acid to help me break down the foods. I take digestive enzymes before, hydrochloric acid. Right before I go to bed, I sip on my redox molecules to make sure that my enzymes are moving along. So I do tips like that. And I also do, I get up in the morning, I take my redox molecules right away. As soon as I brush my teeth, that's the first thing. I wait 15 minutes. Then I go and I take Himalayan pink salt with lemon and warm water. It starts to wake up my digestive system. And I'll tell you, when I was camping in Big Bear, I forgot my lemons. I didn't have my pink salt. I forgot a few things. And I felt it. Like I was really feeling bloated a lot more. So as soon as I got back in the swing, everything starts rocking and rolling with the pink salt and the lemon together in warm water. I love magnesium powder at night. Also, it helps all my muscles relax. It needs to be in warm water because it'll clog up and get in, clog form if you don't. So thank you. Does anyone else have any more questions? Because if not, we will thank her and wrap it up because I want her to speak a little more on something else. Anybody else? Okay.
I take the magnesium spray. I put all over my body.
Oh yeah. You can do topically too, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. I think I ingest it because I think it might have a different effect. Dr. Chari, what's your take on that? You might as well answer that. Is it different than the spray and the drink?
Absolutely. Well, I use the magnesium orally if I want to have better bowel movements the next day. But otherwise, I do use the magnesium spray on a daily basis in the morning on my neck and shoulders and back, and at night before I go to bed, because it's absorbed immediately into your bloodstream and gets into your cells right away and gets to bypass the gut. So I use both depending. Yes.
Super. That was such a wealth of information. Well, we're ready to wrap up tonight's meet and thank Dr. Chari along with our past speakers that joined us today. And please reach out to all of them. Dr. Chari, can you please let our listeners know where we can reach you and listen in on some of your other platforms that you speak on?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So our center, our family-owned integrative medical center, is called the Chari, CHARI Center of Health. And our website is www.charicenter, all one word, CHARICENTER.com, charicenter.com. And then our phone number, if you'd like to call us, is area code 760-230-2711.
Thank you.
Great. And we will post this on the replay. I'll be able to put a bit of your website in that too as well, but I wanted them to at least get firsthand information on where to reach you. So again, thank you, Dr. Chari, we all want to thank you and applaud you for your great wealth of information, to all our past speakers as well for joining us here today, and for all of you taking the time to be here with us and receive tips and tools on helping you reach optimal health. Once again, remember, please fill out the submission form on my website, naturalhealthyhaven.com, to receive your first 15-minute session and watch any shows or podcasts that you may have missed. Please note that we will need to skip our Wednesday Clubhouse, this Wednesday being tomorrow, but we will resume next Wednesday on our Clubhouse global app. You need to have an app to do this at 7:30 PST time. So I wish you all the best of health and look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.